reaction after Sunday's win? Was it elation or was it a sense of relief? The fact that you hadn't gone out in straight sets and the season was still well and truly alive for you?
Oh yeah, look, to get the win and to progress to a preliminary final was the main thing, and that's what we're after. Yeah, the boys were wrapped with their effort to get up, but pretty much as soon as they had got into the room, sang the song, all our focus was going towards this week.
Significant momentum swings in Sunday's game. I only saw a quarter and a half of it, but even for that period of time, there were really significant momentum swings. How do you account for that? Obviously, North Ballarat City threw everything at you, but at the same time, there was a real ebb and flow, wasn't there?
Yeah, look, they're proved that they're a very good side throughout the year. So, and we knew that there was going to be times where during the game where they would play good footy, and we also thought that we were able to play some good footy. So. And it did swing quite a bit at different stages, particularly in the second half.
Was it really what was happening in the engine room that was controlling that, do you think?
Not really. I just think, they were a good side, and at times they were going to play some good footy, and it was about not allowing them to play good footy for 4 quarters to limit that to, where we could, and we were able to do that at different times.
And having said that, you made the most of your opportunities, whereas I think they frittered away a few of theirs, didn't they?
Look, when we got the chance to score and kick a goal. In the last quarter in particular, we did, but we also missed some easy shots as well in the last quarter that, I think Tom Lamb hit the post, Grant Bell missed from pretty close in, so that there was a number of shots that we could have also scored from as well.
What's the situation with Nick Bye?
Yeah, look, Nick, he was very close to playing last week. We just thought that potentially he probably wouldn't be able to get through an entire game. And we weren't prepared to take that risk. With another 6 or 7 days under his belt, we'd expect him to play this weekend.
Do you have any other injury concerns emerging from the first semi?
No injuries, but it was a pretty tough game, and given the conditions, the warmer weather, everyone is pretty sore. And same, I'd say, from East Point's game on Saturday, this time of the year when finals footy, they're tough encounters, so a lot of players do get quite sore. So we have no injuries, but there might be a couple of other changes where people are just general soreness and haven't been able to recover from the 6-day break.
I saw you use Tom Lamb as a bit of a swingman on Sunday, and clearly he's been really good for you down back. He featured really prominently both times you've played East Point this season as a defender. How do you envisage that you might use him on Saturday?
Look, Tom has been one of our best backmen all year, so he will start as a backman again and play as a backman. He also has the ability to go forward and take a mark and kick a goal when needed. So if we think the game needs that, we may look to do that as well.
Dan obviously has been one of the key focal points for East Point and kicked 5 and 4 respectively against you in rounds 3 and 13. So clearly he's going to be the go-to man for them, and supply is going to be critical, but equally so just how you structure up in the back half.
Yeah, look. Dan's probably been one of the best forwards I think I've seen in not just the Ballarat competition, but in country footy Victoria, full stop. So, yes, it is about trying to limit his opportunities in front of goal, but I think it's more about slowing the supply of the footy that comes in. If we're able to, control the footy further up the ground, and when the ball comes in, it comes in with height, and we give our backmen a chance to spoil and get better body positions, we have full confidence in our backs to be able to get the job done. One
less day recovery than East Point. Has that altered your strategy heading into this week in terms of training and preparation?
Not really. Sunday night after the game, we headed straight away off to Lake Esmond for recovery, and then we also had another swim again on Monday. Probably the only real difference is that we had an extra recovery session in there as well. But a lot of our players, the older players, will probably notice it more than the younger players. They're just looking forward to getting out there and playing in a prelim final.
Thanks, mate. That's great.
Thanks. You had to swing Tom Lamb forward. I also noticed that Wadey went forward at times. Are you a bit concerned that maybe your forward line is not functioning as well as it should at this stage of the year, that you have to jerry-rig ways to get goals?
Actually, Wadey didn't go forward. The way he played, he just wandered down there.
Okay.
It wasn't a positional thing to put him forward.
Yep.
He actually played extremely well as a backman all day and was really important to us. I don't think we're not concerned about our forward line. We're actually, to some degree, our entries into our forward line haven't been as efficient as what we'd liked, and that's probably helped not able just to score as easy as what we would have liked. So that's been one area of focus for us this week.
The other thing is, was there any benefit in the way that you're going through it this week, in terms of perhaps all the way through? Early in the year, you looked like you were cruising. Is it good to get the kick in the pants late in the year to get the juices flowing again? I
don't know whether it's good to get the kick in the pants, but early in the year we didn't have any injuries. Our first 10 games we pretty much had our full squad to select from, where towards the end of the year, in the back half of the year, we actually, a number of players were injured and missed, 2 or 3 games. Other players with that dreaded flu that was around Ballarat were sick and weren't able to get, games each week into the belt. So one bonus, I don't know whether it's a bonus or not, but some players have been able now to string 2 or 3 games together.
In terms of, you have been missing players through injury, but do you feel that your form hasn't been as good at the start of the year, and do you think that perhaps on the weekend you saw signs that might be turning?
I don't know whether our form hasn't been great. I think our form has actually been okay. It's just been more about our defensive and our accountability when we don't have the footy. That's been our major focus the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's not about whether we still think once we've got the footy, we've got the players to be able to kick the scores and be able to help us win the game. It's been more about accountability and our defensive efforts when we haven't had the footy to limit the opposition's scoring opportunities.
Thanks, Gill, appreciate it.
Thanks, Gav.
Eamon, how much help is the experience that you guys have had during the finals the past few years?
Yeah, it's a massive help, to have had players that have, been there before, they've really lead the way. But it was really good on the weekend to see, yes, our leaders and players that have played lots of finals footy before step up, but it was really good to see some young kids that are only 19 or 20 really come on board and come with them and be able to help us, progress through.
Talk us through that last quarter comeback. What displayed it?
Yeah, look, as I said before, I'm not sure whether it was a comeback. There was, times in the games where both sides really, dominated the other side. But the big difference for us was to have some quality use of the footy out of the middle, to get 3 or 4 centre clearances and be able to, turn those into scoring opportunities.
Did you miss that ruck depth that you had last week?
I don't think the ruck depth, other than last year when Nick came on board, the ruck depth at Redan hasn't been our strong point. But at the weekend, I thought Brett Dickinson was fantastic. His ability to give our on-ballers first use of the footy was fantastic.
Do you think that was your best win for a couple of months?
Sorry?
Do you think that was your best win for a couple of months last weekend?
It was probably our best win in 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, all right.
Dan, disappointing result against Sunbury, but clearly there would still be some positives that you could take out of the game. Can you identify some for us?
Yeah, look, it was obviously disappointing. We were going down there to try and get the job done, but probably outclassed on the day by a quality Sunbury outfit. I think some real positives is that a few of the guys that we brought into the team with some injury concerns really performed really well, some of the younger blokes. So that was good. We probably played some pretty good footy for 2.5 quarters, but we just need to be able to try and sustain it for 4 quarters, against the best sides in the finals to be able to mix it with them. So, we put ourselves in a position to give ourselves the double chance. So, we go again this week and try and rectify it.
I think it was something like 16 goals to 5 beyond a very even opening term. What might have been the catalyst to the swing away, do you think?
Oh, look, we got smashed in the centre. That's where they really got on top and started giving their forwards some really good supply. So, we had a couple of guys pull out before the game. One of them's a crucial midfielder for us. Another one of our midfielders went down during the game, which didn't help us. And then somebody started to get on top in the middle, and particularly in that second quarter, they smashed us in there and opened up a 40-point lead at half time. And after that, it was sort of a little bit of an arm wrestle, but the damage was done.
So the Jason Delaney injury clearly was a pretty significant one.
Yeah, it
in
was.
terms of the changing in momentum of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it hurt us a fair bit in the middle. He's probably been our prime ball getter all year, and also our best contested ball winner. So when he went out, we were left a little bit short in there, and a few of the other guys, even though they battled on manfully, Sunbury had a bit too much experience and were probably a bit heavier in the body to be able to match it with them.
So how serious is that with him, and will he back up? Will he come up?
Yeah, look, he's doing everything he can to try and get up. So he's doing his rehab and all that sort of thing. He got cleared of a break or anything like that through the ankle, so it's just a sprained ankle, a rolled ankle. So look, we'll give him every opportunity to come up. I couldn't say at this stage whether he'll play or not, but I probably will say that I won't take people in who aren't sort of 100%. But Jace is pretty resilient, so we'll see how he comes up and make a decision on Saturday morning.
Sam Cooper and Brad Whitaker, how are they looking for this week?
Yeah, similar sort of story. They did some light work last night, and hopefully try and get a full session in them on Thursday and see if they can recover okay. We'll name them obviously, but whether they take the field is probably a decision another one we'll make on Saturday morning. It's not ideal, but they're pretty important guys to our structure, so we need to try and do everything we can to get them up.
Your back six was pretty severely tested by the Sunbury forwards, so how do you go about rectifying that against Redan?
Look, they were tested, but I also think that the entries that Sunbury had were pretty quality as well. I've been reasonably happy with our back six all year. Having said that, there's been games where we've definitely leaked a few too many goals. So we really need to get our matchups right. Sunbury, with regards to their forward line, use a lot of strong, medium, good in the air forwards. Redan probably focus more on having some targets and then having some good small forwards as well. So a bit of a different setup, and we'll adjust accordingly, but there'll certainly be an emphasis on that back six to limit scoring, but also a massive emphasis on our midfield to be able to limit those entries and quality entries as well.
And you had some really positive performances from some young players. If we get a nice firm fast track on Saturday, clearly that will be a benefit to you.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, look, it looks like it might be an okay day, so it'll probably be some quick moving footy, probably similar to the game on Sunday with Redan and North City that it was stagnant there at times, but then there was a lot of opportunities when a team got on top and took it from end to end and moved the ball really quickly and gave themselves some good opportunities to impact the scoreboard. So look, there'll certainly be some fair bit of contested ball as well. Redan have got a really quality midfield, but we'll take the game on in all facets and try and encourage the young guys to take a risk and move the ball quickly.
Both games this season you dropped Redan by 32 points, and vastly different games. One that you actually led at three-quarter time, the other one where they got a real jump on you. So how do you go in, knowing that you go in as underdog against a really good quality side that's had that finals experience? Yeah, look, as I mentioned before, I suppose when we have played the really top sides, we've just had a lapse for sort of 20 minutes or 25 minutes. It's really hurt us, particularly in round two. I think we were right with them until halfway through the last quarter, and then Redan showed their class and put it on the scoreboard. I think there was a similar story when we played them later in the year, but I think it happened earlier in the game, sort of in the second quarter. So, with a developing young group, it's hard to sustain that sort of pressure for 4 quarters, and that's sort of what we work on all the time. So, there's a big challenge for those guys on Saturday to be able to go out and play 120 minutes of sustained pressure footy. Whether they're up to that challenge, we'll find out on Saturday. But certainly they won't die wondering. They'll be having a crack at everything they can. Right, thanks, Dan.
After last year, a lot of us have thought, East Point's done really well just to make it this stage. To what extent are you concerned that the playing group might actually think, look, we've done pretty well this year, but it's not going to be a year?
Yeah, look, I myself and probably the playing group are pretty sick of hearing East Point have done really well to get to this stage. We're here and we're having a crack at a grand final, as I said last week. The amount of people that come up to me and say, oh, you've done really well. Well, our playing group's focused on getting in a grand final. And they're going to throw everything at it. Yes, we've had probably some injuries that have hurt us in the last week or two. Yes, we're probably a young team that's developing, nowhere near the experience of, say, a Sunbury or Redan. But we're in there, and don't estimate the vigour of youth, and we'll be having a crack to get in the grand final on Saturday.
How will you work around the guys that will probably be missing this weekend? How do you win without blokes like Jason Delaney and Sam Cooper, who are probably in the top 4 in your best and fairest this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, those players are really hard to replace, there's no doubt, but the only way to do it is to put the onus on other guys to pick up the workload. You know, there's been guys that I've given jobs to all year that have probably been a bit above themselves, and they've been, acquitted themselves really admirably. So we'll probably rotate fairly heavily through there. Bilton, who's played mostly as a forward this year, will probably have to shoulder a fair bit of on-ball work. Other guys such as Alex Bartlett and Dan Tung, who've done a fair bit of midfield work during the year, will have to shoulder that load. You're coming up against probably one of the best midfields in the comp, so there's no secret that they'll be looking to win the clearances and probably some contested ball in there. So these guys have really got to acquit themselves and provide a contest in there. And if we can break even in there, I'd be really happy with that and try and win in other areas.
Do you think that there is any advantage in having the extra day compared to Redan? Do you think that freshness may be one of the things that is in your favour this weekend?
Yeah, look, it could be. I know we probably battled a little bit off a six-day week the week before. Well, I know I personally did, but that's probably not speaking for most of the group. But Redan have got a few old bodies in there, and they certainly would appreciate an extra day. Having said that, they're a pretty professional unit. They know what they're doing. They know how to get themselves up. 6 days, 7 days. It's probably all that relative come 2 o'clock on Saturday. I'm sure that everyone who takes the field is going to be cherry ripe. So it's probably a small advantage, but nothing that's going to affect the outcome too much, I wouldn't imagine.
Thanks.
Do you think Redan's vulnerable at the moment?
Look, there's probably two trains of thinking. I actually personally don't think they're playing their best footy, but on the other hand, I think they have an amazing way of being able to get the job done and just do what's necessary. So I think, I went out to their huddle at 3/4 time on Saturday. They were pretty calm, they were pretty composed, there was no panic. They knew they had to get the job done in the next 30 minutes, and they went out and did it accordingly. I think it's pretty hard to sustain the style of footy that is your best footy, to be able to play it for 120 minutes. But to be able to put it together on the stage when it counts, to be able to get the win on the board, I think Gill would agree that you don't care how much you win by in finals, it's basically just getting the win. So that's what's really important for us guys, if they're tested in that capacity, to be able to stand up and grow a leg, and when challenged, which they will be on Saturday, to be able to keep calm and provide the contest and see if we can come away with a victory.
So do you think you'll have to kill Redan off early? Do you think, because they're usually capable?
Oh, not necessarily. I don't think they'll be allowed to be killed off early. Having said that, I'd love to be 10 goals up at quarter time, but it's probably unrealistic. As I said before, it's going to take 120 minutes of sustained footy to be able to even get the win. So we've got to concentrate on that, and hopefully the guys have got it in them.